Today we're going to be doing something slightly differently. This is a video from me to my younger self. To before I started my training, before I started a paramedic, before I became a first aider, or whatever the case is, before I jumped into the journey of becoming a medical professional. There's three things that you need to remember. One is that you need to stay humble. The moment you think you know everything, or the moment you get onto your high horse because you think you're unstoppable, that's when people get hurt. That's when you make mistakes, and that's when you stop learning. And the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. And that is critical for you in your career, but that's also critical for you and your patients. The second point is that this may seem like a flashy, fun, wow, they're so cool, these heroes of the day who save lives and make, decisions in the minute that are the difference between life and death. It's very seldomly a place where you do make a decision like within seconds that makes the difference between life and death. It's more just you know what you're supposed to do, and so when you see a problem, you're really fixing it. But also it's very seldom that we really do deal with life and death situations. Quite often what we're doing is not technically going to stop them from dying, and if they do die, there's probably nothing you're able to do about it. And then the third thing would be is that this can either make you go crazy and make you go numb and stop feeling because of the things we see. We see death, we see pain, we see hurt, we see blood, we see all these terrible things. I have learned myself that you either become numb to these things or you allow yourself to feel. And this is a way that I've learned to process dealing with death and pain and tragedy. When we tell someone that their loved one is dead, it's difficult to tell a mom that their son didn't make it. These are very difficult situations, and you can either numb yourself, you can make your heart hard and not allow yourself to feel. I know I'm getting a bit personal. If you allow yourself to choose when to feel and choose when not to feel, it allows us to stay mandible, to allow our hearts to be open to what we're experiencing and what we're going through, rather than getting attached to someone who is definitely going to die. So you wouldn't get attached to someone who is going to definitely die, but you can allow yourself to get attached to someone who you know is definitely going to live. And in doing that, we allow ourselves to have a heart that's open to these things, which also then allows us to have our hearts open to our loved ones. Because becoming a doctor, nurse, paramedic, whatever it is, it hardens us. Something that happened to me is that I was at a scene of a man who had hung himself. There were police on scene, there were fire on scene, there were all sorts of crews on scene, and one of them made a joke about the hanging, because he had hung himself with something or whatever the joke was, but it was humor in that death. And I just said to them, hey guys, just be aware that this is someone's brother, this could be someone's father, this is someone's son. Just be careful of where your heart is and be careful of what you're doing. And I totally understand that humor, sometimes that's necessary, but we just need to be very careful about who we're with, when we're saying that, who we're saying that to, and that we just make sure that our hearts are still remaining open. If you see something sad, if you see something that's difficult, you should allow yourself to talk about these things. It's important to talk to someone about these things. If that's your partner or your partners and your spouse or your SO, your significant other or something like that, it is important to stay open to these things because these things can close people off. Medical professionals, I would say on average, probably care about animals more than people because we kind of just get numb to that death, pain and suffering. But if we see a cat get hit by a car, we're tragic. But if we see someone get hit by a car, well, it's either the stupid driver or the guy shouldn't have been on the road. So it's important really for us to allow us to feel, but also just be aware of, well, I am speaking from what I do. I allow myself to feel when I know it's safe to feel, and I allow myself to not feel when I know it's not safe to feel. And in doing so, I've allowed myself to stay able to feel because the job can make people very numb. This job is difficult. It does affect you. It does have a long-lasting effect. Over time, those effects compound, and you need to know how to deal with that. So if you do need help, seek help. If you guys want to talk about whatever you want to talk about in the comments, I will answer every single comment. And once again, thanks for your time. Have a good day.